Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Calling all 8th graders, it's time to put on those historical detective hats. We're gearing up for your year-end STAR readiness review, and today, we're gonna master the evidence. We're cracking the code on primary sources so you are absolutely 100% prepared to crush this exam. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21 gives us this awesome piece of advice: test everything. Hold fast what is good. Honestly, think of this as your ultimate mission statement as a historical detective. When we're looking into history, we don't just blindly accept whatever we hear or read in a textbook. No way! We test the evidence, we hunt for the truth, and we hold on to what is actually real and good.
So here is our roadmap for the Explainer today. We'll start with number 1, the historical detective. 2, why primary sources matter. 3, how to analyze sources. 4, history in action. 5, test your understanding. And 6, education and biblical morality. Super structured, super straightforward, and it's going to give you exactly what you need for the test.
Section 1. The Historical Detective, your new role.
Imagine actually being able to time travel. Not just reading some boring summary of what happened, but actually looking around and seeing history through the eyes of the people who lived it. That's the power you're unlocking today. And our main tool for this time travel, it's a primary source. Basically, these are original records from the past. Things like letters, speeches, maps, and photographs. The key here is that they were created by people who experienced the events firsthand. So remember, these aren't just, dusty old papers. They're the actual physical clues we use to solve the mysteries of the past.
Section 2. Why primary sources matter. The stakes. The people who make the texts and STAR tests, they don't just want you memorizing a bunch of random dates. They really want to see if you can think critically and act like a real historian. So take a look at the comparison here. On one side, we've got basic summaries and opinions, but on the other side, we have true perspectives, hard facts, and deep historical context. Analyzing primary sources is literally how we cross that bridge. It's what helps us separate someone's random opinion or just a quick summary from the rich, true context of what actually happened back then.
Section 3. How to analyze sources. Your toolkit. So the crucial point here is exactly how we do this. Here are the 3 steps you need to interpret clues and support your answers with real evidence on the STAR test. Step 1. Identify and understand the source. Just ask yourself, what even is this? Is it a letter? A map? Step 2. Analyze the author's purpose and point of view. Why did they make this thing, and what were their biases? And step 3. Connect the source to historical events. Where does this specific clue fit into the big picture? Mastering this exact 3-step process is literally the key to drawing the correct conclusions on your exam.
Section 4. History in action. Examining the clues.
All right, it's time to put those historical detective hats firmly on your heads. I'm challenging you right now to practice these brand new toolkit skills on 3 very real historical clues. First up, the Gettysburg Address from 1863. Now, what's really interesting about this is that Lincoln's famous speech was only about 272 words long. It took him just 2 minutes to deliver, but it completely redefined the historical meaning of a massive event. He didn't just give a speech, he used his first-hand words to reframe the entire Civil War, shifting it from just a political conflict into a profound struggle for freedom and unity.
Next up, let's look at a visual clue. This is Paul Revere's engraving of the Boston Massacre. Remember step 2 of our toolkit, analyzing the author's purpose? Well, art isn't always just a pretty picture to look at. Sometimes it's designed with a very specific point of view to manipulate how people think. This engraving right here reflects patriot propaganda, and it shows us exactly how artwork can shape public opinion and rally people to a cause.
And our third example is a Civil War soldier's letter. This really speaks to the heavy, emotional weight of history. Big textbooks can sometimes make wars seem like just a boring series of dates on a timeline, but a simple letter sent from the battlefield? That gives us the intimate details, the personal emotions, the devastating hardships, and the desperate hopes of the people who are actually there. It really shows us the human side of it all.
Section 5. Test your understanding, rapid-fire review.
Okay, 8th graders, you've seen the clues in action. Now let's solidify what you've learned and prep for your homework by hitting the absolute most important takeaways from today's Explainer. Let's quickly run through these 3 key insights. First, primary sources are first-hand accounts of events. Second, understanding bias is key to interpreting those sources accurately. And third, the STAR test absolutely requires you to match these sources to the correct historical events. Spotting bias and connecting the source to the event, those are your ultimate superpowers for this test.
Let's do a quick homework check. I want you to mentally answer this question for me right now. What is a primary source, and can you name one example? Think back to the definition we talked about earlier. Did you picture original records like letters, maps, or photographs? Because if you did, you are completely ready for that question.
Next homework check. Why is bias important to consider when reading a historical source? And this brilliantly illustrates what we were just talking about with Paul Revere's engraving. If you don't consider the author's purpose, you might think you're just looking at objective facts. But in reality, you might be looking at a highly specific point of view meant to influence your thinking.
Final homework check. How do Lincoln's speech and visual sources like engravings connect to actual history? I really want you to remember that these sources don't just passively describe events, they actually shape history. They redefine wars, just like the Gettysburg Address did, and they actively shape public opinion, like that Boston Massacre engraving.
Section 6. Education and Biblical Morality. The Big Picture.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the big picture. We are transitioning now from test prep into the ultimate life lesson from HeroesMart Academy. We've talked a lot today about analyzing facts and testing evidence, but there's a much bigger picture here about how we apply the things we learn to our everyday lives. Romans chapter 8, verses 6 through 7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps his or her mind spiritual. This peace of mind isn't just some abstract idea. It's a reality. It is what we truly experience when we anchor our learning, our testing, and our education in deep spiritual truth.
And this brings us right to the core philosophy of the Godly Learner series at HeroesMart Academy. We purposefully intertwine biblical morality with education. Why? Because education without biblical morality will ultimately hurt. Really think about it. Being smart or knowing exactly how to ace a test simply isn't enough if you lacked a moral compass to make good, healthy choices in your life.
Which leaves us with this vital, provocative final thought. What is the point of being highly educated and smart if you continue to make choices that hurt yourself and others? I want you to really ponder that as you finish up your review today. Let your education build your mind, but let biblical morality build your character. Because when you combine those two things, you don't just become a great historical detective, you become a truly wise, impactful person. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, 8th graders. Good luck on your review, and remember to always test everything and hold fast to what is good.